Good evening, all. Welcome to the August 12th, 2025 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh.
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends and Daily Record newspapers, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all of the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mrs. Russell?
Here.
Mr. Siracusa?
Here.
Mayor Dreese?
I am here. Moving on with the agenda. Number 5, there are no presentations scheduled for this evening. Number 6, reports from volunteers. At this time, are there any reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community? Yes, sir. Come on up, Mr. Rowe.
Hi, Robin Jones, Chair of the Open Space Advisory Committee. I was last here in front of you in May, and I had made a suggestion that the open space properties along the Pompton River be bundled into an official park. You asked me to come back when I had a list of those properties, and here it is. I'll give these to you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, well, it's a long history that goes long before there was an Open Space Advisory Committee. So we're not taking credit to have involvement in every one of these properties, but at least half of them. So I'm just fulfilling my commitment to you, and I look forward to your response as to whether you want to go forward with this.
Pass it on and discuss it, yes. So you're looking at making all of these a park?
Yeah, anything, they're all along between Riverview and Pequannock, North Pequannock and Harrison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, thanks for
Thank
coming.
you. Yes, thank you. Any other volunteers? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. Next, as public comment, this comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. Additional time is reserved later in the meeting. We welcome comments, suggestions, and questions during the comment period. However, the purpose of this is to allow for public comment, not to engage in dialogue. If you have a specific question, please feel free to pose it and then follow up with staff via telephone or email. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, please. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized, to come to the microphone and provide your name for the record. Yes, come on up, Mr. Peter.
Good evening. My name is Peter Schmidt, 16 Manor Avenue. Today my comment will be about Medicaid, the upcoming Medicaid cuts, and what the city is doing about it, can do or should do about it. Let me start slow. I have 2 grandchildren, 3 years and 1 year old, the cutest things in the world. Nothing can compare with that. So I was reading the news, German FAZ, Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. Child mortality in the United States is 80% higher than in Europe. 80% higher, nearly twice as high. And I, as an American patriot, I find that unacceptable. Now, in addition to this, now the current federal budget foresees to save $1 trillion in Medicaid, and that will imply about 10 million to 17 million people that will lose Medicaid support. I do a lot of talking to my assistant ChatGPT now, I can talk about that later. That would translate, nobody knows exactly, about 490 to 700 people here in Pequannock that are losing Medicaid. 41%, I just checked it, 41% of all children in the United States are on Medicaid, which I think is not acceptable either. Yep. So should the township do something about it, or can the township do something about it? Let me put, you all know, I'm a registered Democrat, and actually my nice American friends all advised me not to talk about politics in here, but my German heritage, I cannot do that. Just imagine at the hoedown there is a nice big poster that says, Pequannock loses 500 people to Medicaid and chooses not to do anything about it. Just imagine how that looks like. You see that? That's my political hat. Let me take that off. As a citizen, I would much more that the city does something. Of course, it's very easy to request something and say, let's do something about it. So I asked my assistant, and I can talk about it later as well, what can be done? And he wrote me a proposal for the township, what could be done? And I said, these are nice things. Please give me a table, how much effort it is and how likely it is to do something good. And I have that table here. I mean, I don't want to enter a negotiation right now, but I'd be happy to give you the table, and I think there are some good suggestions. And in addition, of course, I still have a minute left or so. What we don't talk about here is what is a good municipality and not so good. The people in Pequannock don't know. How do you know whether Riverdale is managed better or Pequannock? We are not really telling the people where we are good at here in this community. I think if we do something good, we should announce that somehow to the public, because they don't know. I work now with the zoning department a little bit. Yeah, I see they do a lot of hard work. Could be done a little bit better, but do a lot of hard work. I think there are many areas where the township could be proud of. And if they do something for Medicaid, certainly that is something they could be made public and improve sort of the image of the administration and the town in this community. Okay? My comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Feel free to drop off a copy.
Yeah.
I know if you did the research, it's I would be interested to read it.
Yeah.
So thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Yes, come on up, Mr. Paul.
Good evening. Paul Mailer, Pequannock Township. Like Peter, I was encouraged by friends and family not to come tonight, but now is not the time to be silent. And to the Republic for which it stands. As we did at the July Town Council meeting, we all stood with our hands over our hearts and pledged allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America. But for Republicans nationwide, they were just words then and now, without integrity and absent patriotic loyalty, as the white nationalist, Nazi-like regime in our nation's capital runs roughshod, not just over the city, but to the very rule of law. Let's consider a few examples from recent headlines. Testifying before Congress, Secretary of Education Linda McMahon was asked if she would support a Holocaust denier's bid to teach at Harvard. Her reply, quote, "I believe that there should be diversity of viewpoints relative to teachings and opinions on campuses," end quote. In other words, yes, in her Trump world, a Holocaust denier is a worthy professor. By contrast, in April 1983, or in a speech to Holocaust survivors, President Ronald Reagan said, quote, "The freedom we enjoy carries with it a tremendous responsibility. You, the survivors of the Holocaust, remind us of that. Good and decent people must not close their eyes to evil in times of moral crisis," end quote. And yet, an appointed member of the current Republican King's cabinet thinks Harvard should be required to hire a Holocaust denier. In July 2025, the would-be Republican king visited newly constructed Alligator Alcatraz and said, quote, "Very soon this facility will house some of the most menacing migrants, some of the most vicious people on the planet," end quote. One of the first detainees was a 15-year-old boy with no criminal background. He was merely picked up on the street because he is brown and without due process sent to the now infamous Florida concentration camp. Why? Because the ICE directive isn't to hunt down dangerous criminals, it's to drive fear into every brown family in America. And the pledge you also solemnly recite ends with, quote, "Liberty and justice for all." Not just for Republicans, not just for citizens, not just for well-to-do and privileged whites, not just for old and proud liberals like me, but for old proud liberals like me and the brown kids being separated from their families and their parents thrown into a concentration camp in the Florida swamps, all without regard to due process or the rule of law. So, the question for all government officials, whether federal, state, or municipal, is what do you stand for? If it is to the republic for which that flag stands, you have both a moral and an official responsibility to your constituents to stand against the injustice and brutality in the concentration camp known as Alligator Alcatraz, to stand against the lawlessness of masked goons acting for ICE as they terrorize law-abiding families in their homes, to stand against a defense secretary who claims women should just stay at home and shouldn't have the right to vote. It's time for you to decide. Stand against the tyranny or sit there silent and complicit. There's nothing funny about this, Councilwoman. Stand against the tyranny or sit there in silence and be complicit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Yes, come on up. Rich.
Hi, everybody. Rich Walter, Pompton Plains. I just had a question about 60 Sunset, and I understand that it's in litigation and you discuss it in closed session, which is fine. I think hopefully we're in capable hands there. Then you'll do the right thing for the town. At either the last council meeting or the one before, one of the residents had requested, at the behest of many of us, that maybe you could look into getting outside counsel besides the insurance company that was representing us. And my question is, can you answer yes or no? Has that been done or considered, or is that in the works? Or
I'll ask Bob once we're done, once we're through this. He'll have to opine on that one.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Nope. All right, seeing none, we'll close the we'll close this and continue with the agenda. Bob, can you just address the questions? I don't know if we can say anything or.
Well, the town can be represented in court by one attorney, and that is the attorney provided by by our insurance company at this point in time. And of course, we wouldn't want to do anything that would detract from the mission that attorney has, which is frankly to represent the township, not the insurance company. They're appointed by the insurance company, but his obligation is to the township. And he does exercise some independence and independent thought and expresses that to us, but ultimately he will follow the township's advice. He does coordinate this with the the people in my position, right, who represent the township exclusively, not in this litigation, but in general, and the attorney for the Board of Adjustment, who does the same on behalf of the Board of Adjustment. And it is us who will speak to that attorney regarding the positions of both the township and the Board of Adjustment. So, yes, you can always bring another attorney in. There's always ways to spend money, and there's many people that will line up to take a thing. But we've had the insurance company provide us with a separate attorney to review our code and our ordinance and give us information about that. We have an appointed attorney who's frankly well-respected in the field and well-known to those who do this kind of work. So I feel like the township is well represented at this point. At some point in time, the township could certainly get advice from outside counsel, should they choose to do that, and budget money accordingly for that. But not at this time. We have not done that at this time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bob. Moving on to the agenda, Mr. Brewer, do you have any comments on anything that was mentioned? I don't think so. Any? No. I'd be interested to read what Peter had put together, but I don't know this ChatGPT guy though, so I have no idea who that is. So, manager report, Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, sir. I apologize at the outset as it goes to item L.
I know. Gotta take your keyboard away.
First up, we have Sherman Avenue sidewalks follow-up. Previously, the council discussed the approach to Sherman Avenue. Direction was given to solicit feedback from residents. There's a summary of that from Mr. Russo supporting my memo. Essentially, the desire of the residents is to have all the sidewalks that currently exist be replaced. The only real outstanding question is, for example, the Manor Avenue sidewalk project we had the pre-construction meeting for this morning. That involves the replacement of the sidewalk that is deteriorated. If there's sidewalk that is in good shape, it's not going to be replaced, as we've done on other projects. We've also had other projects where we replace all of the sidewalk. So the one question that we will need direction from at some point, because this will be the subject of a 2026 budget item, is whether we're replacing just those slabs of sidewalk or all of the entire sidewalk. The other item for discussion or consideration is there's a piece of asphalt sidewalk along the northeastern side that goes to nowhere and really serves no purpose. And from a planning and circulating perspective, would be best served to be removed. So we need to know we're replacing all the sidewalk and preferably to be able to remove that piece of asphalt sidewalk. With respect to West Franklin Avenue traffic concerns, again, there's a memo from Mr. Russo in support of the summary I'm about to provide you with. The same issue was raised last year. The police department staff, traffic division, as well as the engineer went out and inspected the area. Reports were reviewed. They discussed it. Last year, as the council may recall, there was a significant amount of vegetation that was removed, increasing sight distance, which we felt had an improvement on safety. That said, there's a Sunday morning, it's congested, there's a lot of people parking there for a few hours, and then it dissipates shortly thereafter. As enumerated in Mr. Russo's memo, the legislative authority of the council would allow for the prohibition of parking on one side, both sides, any sections, for any variety of ways that would like to be approached. The one concern I would like to provide the council with is you don't really solve parking problems, you typically just relocate. So if there was a desire to implement a parking restriction, I would just ask that there be some time to review that to see what the potential outcomes would be from an engineering and planning perspective. Morris County Park Commission Trails Grant application. Earlier this year, the council authorized the Cherry Street Park, which is a paper street that doesn't exist. And it essentially connects New Reed Street to the county trail, provides a shelter and some seating area. We made the application to the Morris County Park Commission. During the application process, the Park Commission's consultant identified a perceived presence of wetlands. So I'm just letting the council know that was what was identified. Discussion with leadership at the Park Commission involved. We'll get a presence or absence determination, pause the application for 2025. If there are none, we'll proceed with it in 2026. If it is determined there is a presence of wetlands, then we may need to review what else could be included as permits from the DEP could be required. Greenview Sports Court's grand opening. There was discussion previously about having a ceremony to cut a ribbon. So I wanted to see if the council was amenable to, or desired to still do that, and if so, amenable to doing it on September 9th, about an hour before our regular council meeting at at, say, 6 p.m.
Sounds good.
You want to go through everything? You want to?
I'll run through everything and then we can go back.
We can go one by one.
Route 23 northbound, southbound sewer extension project. The required public hearing for those individuals to be included in the special assessment was held on August 5th with the special assessor and me. A dozen people attended. It was, in spite of the subject, a positive meeting and a good time to speak with some of the residents. There was one issue identified which the special assessor is going to address. The next step in the process to confirm the assessment is the actual confirmation. Unless there's objection or concern or question from council, I would like to schedule that for September 9th. It does require specific notice to be published twice and letters to be sent. So if that's all right with the council, we'll do that. Next up, item F, ordinance 2025-09 is scheduled for public hearing and potential adoption tonight. This was the subject of some significant discussion at the meeting to introduce it. As I commented then at some length, this is an ordinance that's being imposed upon the township by FEMA. The origins, I don't think, are ill-found, except for the fact that the state of New Jersey is already very highly regulated. This is a one-size-fits-all ordinance that's supposed to work in Wyoming as well as places like New Jersey. There are some things that conflict with state statute. That there were some things in the model ordinance that the township took exception to and was able to get some of removed. Some of the definitions we couldn't. But ultimately, there's a pretty good summary of some of the things that are going to be impacted there. The ordinance reads as if it makes the new firms effective. Our ordinance that exists now would have the firms become effective on the 19th of August, regardless of whether this is put in place. So essentially, in order to continue in the National Flood Insurance Program, which hugely benefits the township of Pequannock and our residents, this is something that we are forced to move forward with. Greenview Park Pickleball Courts membership. As discussed previously, an ordinance was prepared for potential introduction or amendment. It establishes the requirement for membership, sets the fee for resident member at $20, non-resident at $150, and replacement for a lost badge at $20. It also articulates the ability for one guest per day per member. We surveyed some surrounding communities. Some people prohibited it. It happens anyway, and it's ignored. Other people allow this. It's a work in progress. There's some self-policing that has to take place. The justification for the resident membership is the card itself is about $9. Then you factor in the ribbon and all the other technology that goes into making them. We don't want to lose money on the preparation of the card is my point, but all of that is obviously subject to the council's direction. Wells 1 and 2 PFAS treatment project. 2018-19, there was a decision to move forward with the removal of PFAS from the township's well, which it immediately took offline prior to being mandated to test for PFAS. An appropriation of $4,750,000 was created by ordinance to fund that. At that time, there was no thought about using New Jersey iBank, which has the benefit of lower interest and no interest, as well as the possibility of principal forgiveness. As we evolved through the project, the decision was made to go with the iBank, which significantly expanded the professional services that were required from the engineer. That was the subject of a couple of resolutions, which will come up again later in the report. In addition to that, the bids were submitted in such a way that the township had to skip the lowest bidder because it was deemed problematic to the point it couldn't be awarded, which was a difference in cost of $291,000. Bottom line is, at this point, we're roughly $213,000 over budget for the project. The recommendation from bond counsel was don't fund that amount. Do an authorization for $500,000, provided there might be change orders. You don't want to have two meetings if you have to deal with something that's time sensitive. The additional authorization would still be subject to council action. It's not as if I'm getting the ability to buy a couple $100,000 municipal Maserati for myself, and it would have to be project specific, dedicated simply and solely to the removal of PFAS. So that is scheduled for potential introduction if the council sees fit to move forward with it. Additionally scheduled for potential introduction is an ordinance to fund the 2022 home elevation project. That's one of the benefits of being in the National Flood Insurance Program. You can be eligible for the grants to elevate homes. So this is an additional 7 homes that were included in that round. So that is par for the course and how we've approached these projects in prior years, going all the way back to 2016. Bid threshold, the state of New Jersey authorized, as it does every 5 years, the potential to increase the bid threshold based upon change in prices. Included in the council's packet is the local finance notice explaining the justification behind that. The potential exists to increase from $44,000 to $53,000 with a qualified purchasing agent, which the township has. So that resolution is scheduled for the council's consideration. Back to PFAS. Oh, excuse me, we're not there yet. DOT utility engineering and construction easement. Lots of paperwork in the packet for this. Essentially, because of the state's project on Route 23, the possibility may exist whereby relocation of water infrastructure or other utility infrastructure might need to be done because it could be in conflict with the state's project. Back in 2017 or 18, the water utility operator was under the impression that he could sign those agreements and did. So you have two agreements that were previously executed but not formalized. And those are in the form of amendments, and two new agreements based upon the current project. So our goal is to address those with one resolution. A lot of paperwork, state of New Jersey. I try not to say too much more.
Good.
With respect to the professional service authorizations, when the initial PFAS project was conceptualized, a contract was awarded to Crew Engineering. Crew Engineering then became H2M Engineering. The township adopted a resolution assigning the contract to H2M from Crew. Subsequently, there was a request to expand their authorization based upon the I-Bank. There was a resolution acted upon to increase the authorization. There was another increase based upon requirements such as a treatment works application, expanded bidding requirements, and full-time inspection is kind of the big hit. Whenever you have to pay someone to be a full-time inspector on a project, there's a significant cost there. So there was a fourth resolution acted upon. When we reviewed the budget, it was determined that there had been an error made, and the total authorizations was identified as $846,000. The resolution to confirm and correct the authorizations to H2M reduces that number to $770,183.67. And lastly, for discussion, every 2 years, the township is required to review and revise its personnel policies and procedures manual and employee handbook. That is scheduled for discussion and presentation. If the council has questions, we can address those at the time of discussion. And ultimately, if there are, once we finalize whatever document will be approved, I will schedule that for action on September 9th.
Is that it?
Would you like more?
Sure.
So quickly back to the items with request for direction. With respect to Sherman Avenue sidewalks, obviously we can discuss this. Yeah, we can discuss this moving forward, or the council can give me direction tonight. There's no time of the essence, but if the council has a decision on what it wants to do, I'm happy to make the note of it and move forward accordingly.
Anybody got thoughts?
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. Okay, so just for clarification again, so you're saying for both Sherman and Manor, we're talking about, or just?
No, Sherman.
This is just Sherman. Manor was used as an example where not every slab was replaced, only those that require.
So in the past, we've done it both ways?
Correct.
Okay. And the recommendation from the residents is just to do the ones that are deteriorating?
The recommendation from the residents, if there were questions about, do we want to extend all the way down? Do we want to do both sides with one side? So the recommendation from the response from the residents is replace what exists.
Everything.
Have it go from, no.
Yeah.
Well, the request is don't expand what exists.
Right.
Don't make it longer, don't go anywhere else.
Right, but do it all. So
And
if you,
the residents who commented further on what their druthers are regarding whether to replace only those that are deteriorated and need it versus replace them all, the commentary from the couple of residents that have commented on that is please just do them all.
well, the only reason I would say that is because it's not going to match, so it'll look,
In time it matches.
Eventually it will. So.
You get more bang for your buck when you don't replace stuff that doesn't need to be replaced. So the budgetary perspective of getting more sidewalk done has been an approach when it's been appropriate. Rockledge was like that, Manor is like that, but it's up to the council.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a short strip. I say just, you know what, just do it all.
it almost seems like it would be easier to do it all than,
Do it all, and do we have to wait to remove the sidewalks from the northbound side, or is that something DPW can do?
DPW.
Yeah, I mean, when it's a short strip like that, that's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, how many are we talking here that we're possibly not going to do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That I don't have for you.
So bids, thoughts?
I think you do it all.
Kyle?
I'm fine with doing it all.
Okay, do it all.
It's not that long.
And no objection to the removal of the asphalt sidewalk to nowhere?
No.
No,
No, not at all.
proposing to do, so that's fine.
Thank you. Wes Franklin, is there any action desired at this time, or do you want the police department and engineering to continue to monitor?
Well, on Sunday mornings when church is going on, I mean, I can see why maybe we want to do that, right? On one side, no parking.
I say it's been an issue that's been there for years. I say we just let it go. The only question that I have is, the church bought a foreclosure on a house that allegedly was going to be a parking lot. There's been some talk or rumor that the reason they didn't make it a parking lot is because of town restrictions. I don't know what restrictions we could have put on them for making it a parking lot, so if we could just investigate why they bought the property and didn't make it a parking lot.
I agree, as long as emergency vehicles, which Vinny had brought up, as long as emergency vehicles can get through. Like, it's been forever, and it's only one day. It's the same thing, Mountain Ave, and Mountain Ave was even widened, but even that, it's one car through on a Saturday when they're doing garage sales, so.
Yeah, I think that as long as it's monitored, and like a fire truck and ambulance can make it through there without delay or without being obstructed, then I'm okay with it.
So we don't think we should do anything then, just leave it?
Yeah, I would think so. It's not like it's for an extended period of time, but it would be interesting to find out why.
Yeah, I'll follow up and get an answer to that, or look into it and see if I can.
I would just ask, the church just to make announcements, that to the parishioners that, just to be cognizant of where they're parking, you know what I mean, and make sure that there's enough room to get through. They can kind of police themselves.
Yeah, the report back I got from PD was they had some conversations down on Sunday mornings with them. They were very receptive to it. The parishioners were receptive to it. They explained the concern. And
I mean, the only problem with this is parking on one side of the street.
Where are they going to park?
Cars are going to go down somebody else's street.
Right,
We're going to have neighbors that are going to be not happy that we...
I understand that.
That's what
And like you said, you're just
moving the traffic somewhere else.
yeah, you don't fix it, you just relocate it.
Leave it alone.
Okay.
I think if they can use this neighboring property for a parking lot.
Yeah, that would be good to know.
And I always think back to Holy Spirit and the electronic sign. If there's a perceived impediment that may not really exist, and we can break through that barrier, perhaps that can be a positive proposition.
Right.
So I'll follow up on that.
Okay.
Right, so letter C, that's okay, we'll pause that for this year, that's the grant.
I don't think there's anything else that needs direction. The rest is really subject
D,
to...
I'm good with Tuesday, well, the grand opening?
Yeah.
Now, what,
Tuesday?
the only thing I was going to ask on that other one, what made us think that there could be wetlands there?
We didn't think there were wetlands.
Oh.
We still don't think there were wetlands. The county's consultant thinks there might be wetlands.
Okay. It's a county.
Yeah, and if they think so, they're not going to give us a grant anyway.
Yeah.
So everything's got to pause.
Good to pull it.
I'm good with
Well, pause. It's still good. They're
Yeah.
very receptive to us carrying to next year if we just answer that.
Okay, all right.
Because it's a great project and they would like to see it, frankly, as well.
September 9th, that's...
I'm good with the 9th.
That's the next meeting.
Oh, I'm good with that.
It's like
Okay.
before the next meeting.
Good with that.
Good with the 9th, everybody?
Yep.
Yep, at 6, so just do 6 o'clock.
And then E, the special assessment process, so yeah, confirmation, let's get that going, right? Gotta get that done.
Yes, Mr. Collecting the money.
Ordinances,
Yeah, the rest is subject to,
The special assessment
Oh, yeah.
scheduled for the next meeting.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to ask you, you had said one issue came up when you had that meeting. What, you mean on one property? What type of issue, if you don't mind me asking?
So the purpose of the meeting is to allow those who are affected by it to come hear how the assessment was calculated and what the methodology was. There was one property that is identified in the Mod 4 database as a mixed use, when it really isn't. So instead of being assessed at the flat rate that's assessed for the residential properties, it was assessed as a commercial property.
Got it.
So the person came out, identified that that was a concern. The special assessor went out and conducted a field inspection and confirmed the fact that it is functioning as a residential, and to make it into a commercial property would require enormous effort. So it's not as if it's a turnkey thing. It could just be, if it were a turnkey thing that be made commercial, it would have been assessed as commercial.
Okay. Thank you.
we good?
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Mr. Brewer.
Okay, put that on my calendar.
Moving on with the agenda, the public hearing. Ms. Marsh, on ordinance, 2025-09?
Ordinance number 2020-509 is an ordinance by the Township Council amending the Township of Pequannock Code of Ordinances to repeal Chapter 171, to adopt a new Chapter 171, to adopt flood hazard maps, to designate a floodplain administrator, and providing for severability and an effective date.
Thank you. Are there any comments from council?
No.
Hearing none, is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make that motion to open the public hearing on 2025-09.
I'll second. Oops, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
If anybody in the audience has any questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion to close the hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I didn't know it was a race.
Oh, yeah, it is around here.
All right, is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
Scissors. I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dracy?
Yes. So next item on the agenda is introduction of ordinances. Ms. Marsh.
This is ordinance number 2025-10, bond ordinance providing for the elevation of flood-prone homes in and by the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $1,767,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,767,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance the cost thereof.
Thank you. Mr. Brewer, any more comments?
Nothing beyond my report unless there are questions.
Okay. Any comments from council?
Nope.
Hearing none, is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number 2025-10.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dracy?
Yes. Yes. Next on the agenda is introduction of ordinance number 2025-11. Ms. Marsh.
Ordinance 2025-11 is an ordinance amending Chapters 152 and 237 of the Code of the Township of Pequannock and establishing membership fees and rules for pickleball and tennis court use.
Mr. Brewer, any comments?
Nothing further beyond my report, just to confirm with council that the fees are okay unless they want to change.
Any comments from council?
No, it's fine. I just had one stupid question. We were talking about how you could reserve, in the rules, we said you could reserve if you were in a group. Kyle had brought that up, but you still need to be a member to do that, right? Okay. That's it.
All right, no more comments. Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make that motion for ordinance
I'll second.
2025-11.
Roll call.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dracy?
Yes. Next on the agenda is introduction of ordinance number 2025-12.
Ordinance 2025-12 is a bond ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $500,000 for the treatment of wells 1 and 2, wells number 1 and number 2, and related improvements in and by the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $500,000 bonds or notes of the Township of Pequannock, bonds or notes of the Township to finance the costs thereof.
Yes, Mr. Brewer.
Nothing further unless there's questions.
Any comments from council?
Nope.
No.
Is there a motion
Let's
to
get the project done.
this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make that motion to introduce 2025-12.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dracy?
Yes. Next agenda item is resolutions. Ms. Marsh.
Beginning with Resolution R 2025-161, approving the designated special event permit application, which is for the Post 242 Car Show. 2025-162, confirming the designated memberships in the Pequannock Township Fire Department. 163, authorizing the execution of a quitclaim deed, releasing ownership unit from affordability controls, which is Block 2202, Lot 2, qualifier C217. 2025-164, authorizing a $53,000 bid threshold effective August 12, 2025. 165, authorizing the execution of agreements between the Township of Pequannock and the New Jersey Department of Transportation necessitated by the Route 23 improvement project being undertaken by the state of New Jersey. 166, correcting and confirming the amounts of professional services agreements and contracts with H2M Architects and Engineers Incorporated for the Wells 1 and 2 PFAS treatment project. 2025-167, authorizing the acceptance of a hold harmless from Theodora and Adam Satzos, lot for block 3501, Lot 7, which is 13 William Street. 168, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations. 169, authorizing release of designated escrow deposits. 170, authorizing release of deposits for construction in the township right-of-way. And R 2025-171, approving the payment of the itemized claims as set forth in the August 7th, 2025 bill list and FEMA elevation escrow list.
Thank you, thank you. Are there any comments from council on the resolutions?
The only thing that I was going to mention is, if possible, which I don't know if it's going to be possible, is to have the new parking area, PV Park, done before the car show. If it's not being able to be done, just not to do it the same week or weekend that they're having the car show, so we'll try to work with them the best we can.
Schedule-wise, we'll work to get it done. It'll be in the second tranche of paving, and if there is activity happening, it won't be in conflict with the car.
All right, perfect, thank you. Other than that?
And that one request to build on the right-of-way, that was the one that it was just a maintenance-free fence, right? Yeah.
There's an existing chain link fence that they're upgrading. There was not a previous hold harmless agreement in place. There's no other zoning issue, so it's just to replace that with a different fence.
Very good.
And it's a utility easement.
Any other comments? You good?
Oh, yep.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt
Forget it. Sorry.
these resolutions?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolutions 2025-161 through 2025-171.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dreese?
Yes. Next item on the agenda for discussion, personal manual draft revisions.
Although I'm arguably one of the authors of it, the absurdity of a 160-something page manual is clear.
Can't you type some more?
Yeah. Some of the policies are shorter than others. So the township's existing personnel policies and procedures manual employee handbook is posted on the township's website. So we're very, very transparent. We like to provide that to the public. The Morris County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund and the New Jersey Municipal Excess Liability Joint Insurance Fund require a review every 2 years. In addition to the review of the manual, police department administration has to go to training, supervisors have to be trained. Mr. Oostake has to sign off that we've done all of these things in order to be eligible for our employment practices liability and public officials liability lines of coverage. Covering the manual, is a memo, and within the manual, any changes are highlighted, bold, strikeouts, if it's things to be removed. I will quickly run through those, and if the council has questions, thoughts, or comments, please feel free to let me know. With respect to the anti-discrimination equal employment policy, additional text was added based upon the recommendation of the Labor Council. ADA, there's additional language now because of the Federal Pregnant Workers Fairness Act from the Joint Insurance Fund. Alcohol and drug-free workplace, there was language added to address the concept of lawfully purchased cannabis, which is still prohibited to be used while we're working. Policy against harassment, based upon recommendation from the JIF and consistent with guidance from the Equal Employment Commission to 2024. There was language added about the hostile workplace environments. Comp time and overtime policy, there's language added based upon the recommendation of Labor Council, providing for the township to have the ability to cash out an employee's comp time at any point in a given year based upon the rate that employee currently makes, rather than allowing it to accrue in perpetuity and then paying it out on separation. Salaries and payment, there's a new law called regarding pay transparency that was adopted by the state of New Jersey that requires us to put salary ranges and other information in job ads. So that language has been added to the salaries and payment section. Health benefits, the township has a policy whereby an employee has the opportunity to sell back personal time off, provided they have a minimum amount in their time bank. The election to do that is being clarified to have to be made during open enrollment. so budgeting and planning can be accomplished accordingly. That's one from staff. Employment assistance policy, it should say policy, not police, that's a typo, sorry about that. The State Chiefs of Police Association created a new requirement for police departments to have an employee assistance policy based upon some of the challenges being faced by police. For those agencies that are accredited, we are an accredited agency, we take that as a high priority. Rather than limit it to police, this is a policy that's going to be provided to all employees who are eligible. There's a new employee assistance policy. The retainer for the policy through Atlantic Health is $1,500 a year, so it's much less expensive than some apps that are out there that are being sold for this purpose, and may be able to be used by management if an employee is identified that could need assistance for something moving forward. So that's a nice thing that we've added as a program for the staff. Chapter 5.01, employment procedure, based upon the advice of Labor Council. The proof of eligibility for employment, there's clarification with respect to I-9s and the other documents that are required upon appointment. And then the initial employment period, the language was changed, articulating the at-will component of employment with the Township of Pequannock for those individuals not covered by a collective negotiating agreement or other statutory protections. Compared to 4 years ago, not a lot of text changed, but a lot of different policies were touched. Are there any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns?
No, but I was just going to say, I know it's a big document, and you said everything was highlighted. So on the website, is it actually highlighted in that document?
This document that is on the website, grab an example.
All those changes.
All of the highlighted changes are posted on the website. Now, ultimately, the final document is posted.
Okay, I just wondered if they can see the highlight. Oh, I got it.
Example.
I didn't know if it was like that on the website.
It is like that on the website.
Oh, good.
And it includes my cover memo.
Good. Very good. Thank you.
Well, it's good to see that we're staying on top of the stuff that we're supposed to stay on top of, so.
It gets us out of trouble.
Thank you.
I've had a couple examples in my career of litigation that were solved by having effective personnel manuals, so it's always been a priority.
It's good that the town stays on top.
I guess the employees were notified that there's changes going to it, or?
This is sent out to them, and the only item that I would identify that an employee might have a question about would be the payout of the comp time. Because if someone had a practice of trying to bank a massive amount of comp time and wanted to save that as a boat check, that would be the only thing that would substantively be impacting that is not based in law.
Is that going to affect any contracts?
No.
No bargaining agreements?
Nope. Collective negotiating agreements supersede the manual. So anything that would be changed that would affect those in collective negotiating agreements would have to be negotiated at the time of new contract, so this wouldn't affect it.
Okay, good? We good?
We're good.
I'll prepare the final version with a resolution for council's approval on September 9th.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
And that's mandated by the state? Just want to make sure.
JIF.
By JIF.
Insurance.
Insurance.
Our insurance provider.
All right, moving on, there are no reports and notices. The next item on the agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
All right, thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to say congratulations to our two new members, junior for the fire department, junior firefighter Camilla Benet, if I'm saying that correct, and Madison DeBeese is going to be on Engine Company 1. So congratulations to them. Great to see the volunteers keep coming. I had my Historic District Commission meeting. A new member was appointed, Eleni Kingcross, and she was at the meeting. As you probably see from the train station, the renovations are done. The commission's working on putting everything back together. The fence is down. They're working on reorganizing and donating and purging and trying to make it look presentable. They'll be there if you want to stop in. The volunteers are going to be there on tomorrow night and Thursday night for about 2 hours, and then they're going to be there Saturday starting at 10. So they're hoping after this weekend that they get it all put back together. From the time of our meeting, the county was still waiting on the train order signal
No, we are still
do we have
waiting,
that?
we're still waiting on the semaphore. That's part of our project.
Oh, okay, that's part of our project?
Yeah,
All right.
the semaphore.
It's a base or something?
The semaphore is ready to be installed, but the base had to be forged.
Okay,
So we're waiting for the forge to make the base,
all right, so that's really, I think,
which they're anticipating hopefully by the end of August.
Okay. And then just to highlight, I mean, you probably know more than me, but the main renovations are a rebuilt chimney, new granite slate roof, new windows, the decking was replaced, painted, and I think there was lights outside, protective lights installed, and those are like the main things. One of the questions that came up was in the bathroom inside, I guess the light is out and it's so high they don't have a ladder. Is that something they can call DPW to?
It's already been communicated and DPW has it on their list, so.
Great.
Appreciate the follow-up, but it's already been addressed.
Okay. We already talked about the garbage can, so I'm not going to go into that. And what else? And then there was just a lot of conversation about the maintenance of the trail again, where it's supposed to be the county, right? Doing the maintenance.
It is county property.
Right, so everybody's just a little worried about how that's going to go. And there was some discussion about aquatic park access. Is that something we're looking at? Access to the trail through aquatic park?
That's been the subject of discussion and is currently on pause because, as the Township Council may be aware, a contract was given to an outside engineering firm as stormwater infrastructure is required to be designed, permitted, and ultimately built. So until that project kind of figures itself out, where the initial anticipated access was for pedestrians is going to be a detention basin. So we got to wait for that to play itself out before a determination is made on how we're going to get access.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Sunday, October 4th and 5th is the Pathways to History Tour, and I know that the Railroad Museum plans on being open, doing their reopening on Sunday. They'll be open Sunday, October 5th. And the commission will also be at the street fair on Sunday, September 21st, and at the Hoedown on October 18th. One other quick question that came up is the Historic District Commission has a small budget, and they found some hooks or something that they want to use for pictures, and they just want to know to order those, which I think they found online, probably through Amazon. They have to get a PO.
They should work with staff to get.
And they should work with staff
the
on that.
appropriate encumbrance so that the procedures can be followed.
Who do I send them to for that? Just finance or?
It's typically either Ms. Marsh or finance.
Okay. And what else? And the museum's going to be open to the public on the second and fourth Sunday of each month from 12 to 3, as long as they have staff to cover it. What other things were discussed? We already talked about PV Park. That guardrail's still planning on coming down, right? The guardrail?
We've canceled the project.
We did.
No.
Oh. I was like,
Well, they should listen.
do we know when it's going to come down?
It's going to be a component, as was previously reported, there's 2 tranches of municipal paving.
Right.
The first was already authorized through the Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council. The second will be likely in the fall.
Right.
It will be a component of that.
Okay. Yeah, you did mention that, sorry. All right, what else we got? Planning board met. There was 2 items on the agenda. One was an approval for 6-vehicle carport on a property on West Parkway in the industrial zone. And the other one was Hillview Medical. There was nothing different on that, just that they had come to get an approval to build out in 5 different stages rather than all at once, which is actually a good thing, because this way it was stressed from the planning board that each phase needs to be done, completed, and approved before they can go on to the next stage. So that was the conversation there. And then real quick, thank you to the police department for hosting National Night Out. It was a great success, and thank you to everyone who participated, different organizations, different departments in the town, so that was good. And thank you to DPW. I see them working all over the place on the turnpike and all the roads, so they're doing a good job.
That's the county's contract.
Right, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, they're working with them.
They're working with them. So. And that's it.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Councilman Cole.
All right, I was at National Night Out. That was a big hit. Thank you to all the everyone that organized that great event. Special thanks to Dr. Portis, Rich Hazler, Chief Commune, and Sergeant Cicchetti for being in the dunk tank. Dan gets in the dunk tank, and the first kid that comes up, he says, "You're not going to hit it. You're wearing a Jets jersey." First throw. In the water he goes. So it was good. A lot of people there. Looked like everybody was having a good time. So congratulations to everybody that organized that. Congratulations to Camilla and our junior fighter Camilla, and our regular fighter Madison. And just so the council knows, we had junior firefighters complete 6 weeks of training at the Fire Academy, Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 in the morning. More to come on that after they get their test results, and I'll give names at the next meeting, but I didn't want to give any names at this meeting just in case someone didn't pass. So, but you know what? Dedication and commitment for those young high school age people to take 6 weeks out of their summer from Monday through Friday was tremendous. So my hat is off to them for doing that. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Councilwoman Russell.
Thank you. Not a lot. Congrats to the new firefighters. I agree with Dave. It is for all of our volunteers. You know, they do so much, and it's so nice to see. First Aid Squad, they had 100 calls in the month of July. 40 of them were to Cedar Crest. So still going a lot to Cedar Crest. Cedar Crest, I guess, is a little short-staffed, so there's been problems with them getting there and not be able to get in, and they're not coming and helping, so we're all going to be addressing that. This year, total, 720 total calls, 268 have been to Cedar Crest. Oktoberfest, their fundraiser is on September 27. Plan it. It's going to be fun. They have a lot of bands. All the bands are lined up, all the banners. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of food trucks. With the library, bids were opened last week. We'll be discussing the construction and the bid opening at our next meeting. I just have a question about the walking trail. How are we doing? Have you had a lot of complaints about garbage and anything like that, or no? Is that kind of cleaned up after itself?
Based on, no, I have not received any complaints.
Okay, good.
To answer your question. Based on my own walking on the trail, what was more baggies and things when it was not yet opened, I've seen a lot less of.
That's what I was noticing.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's people are policing it better or it's become normal.
Right.
But I see it going in a positive direction.
Well, Monday through Friday, we have 2 county employees here, don't we?
But they have to maintain an awful lot of ground. So,
but at least we have
that may be part of it too. That absolutely
Okay,
could be
so
part
the
of it.
county is doing their share, which is nice. Good. Okay, that's all I have.
Just quick, I want to give a shout out to a resident, because I was walking down it a couple Sundays ago, and some guy was driving down with his bike, and he would stop when he saw garbage, pick it up, put it in the bag, and then keep going.
Yeah.
So thank you to whoever that was. I wasn't sure, because by the time I saw him, he had passed me already. So.
You know, it's funny because down the shore, you go into one of the restaurants or bars, and you get a bucket, and if you fill it with trash from the ocean, and then you give it back, you get a free beer, you hand them the bucket of trash.
Yeah, but I think all the residents really, again, it's not good to see litter, but if you see it, it's our town.
Right, and I think a lot of them do.
Yeah. Thank you, Kyle.
And then they post about it on Facebook, how great they are.
Well, that's it. As long as they pick it up, we're good. Councilman Syracuse.
Excellent. So Parks and Rec will meet next week. This week, let's see, Open Space met. I was not there. I wasn't feeling well. However, I want to welcome Mr. Presti as a new member of the Open Space. We got Pompton Valley Rail Trail. A little news with the trail. Just we're going to be installing some tree tubes in the next month and so on the trees along the trail. So anyone interested in helping should reach out to Tom Newman. And the proposed projects report was updated. It was being updated, various items on there, and Mr. Pinto is going to do that and then circulate that to the members. That was it. Took about 50-something minutes of the meeting, and then the next meeting is on September 8th. nothing else to report.
Thank you, Vince. All right, couple things. Summer's coming to an end. I hope you're enjoying it with your families, whoever. And before we meet next, school will be in session, so I just ask you to just respect the crossing guards, watch out for them. They do a great service to this community, so just watch them. Also, kids on electric stuff. Parents, we really need you to crack down and take care of your kids with this, because they're going fast. Most of them don't have helmets on, so I believe the school resource officer is trying to deal with it with the schools because he has a captive audience. But we need parents to please talk to their kids about this, because they're going way too quick, and somebody's hope nobody gets hurt. So
Right.
Night out was awesome. It's great to see the first aid squad there was there. Both fire companies, the DPW was there with equipment, with kids climbing on. That was awesome. It was also really cool to see the firefighters cut the cars apart. I don't know if anybody saw that. They had two junk cars that had to take all the doors off and cut the roof off, and they kind of had a competition. So it was neat to see those tools in action for people that don't really know how to use them or see them. So thank you for that. And they finished within like 5 seconds of each other. It was really cool. Congratulations to the junior firefighter again, and the regular firefighter again. We're getting juniors, and that's awesome to get the younger adults involved. Turnpike work, I think, is going good. They seem to be moving pretty quick. It's nice to see that. And unbeknownst, it's not the town, it's a county road, so that's all county money taking care of that for our town, so we like that. Melissa brought up the train station. You're right, that looks absolutely great. Yeah. And I just like to talk about just being thankful a little bit, right? We all have something we can be thankful for. Just that's been my mindset over the last couple of years, just being thankful, thanking people. When you buy a cup of coffee, they wear a name tag, just say hi. Thank you to whoever the name tag is, right? I mean, they're wearing a name tag, use their name. So I just like us all to be thankful a little bit more. Right, Kyle?
I am thankful.
All right, cool. That's all I got.
Mayor, can I jump in there real quick?
Sure.
And I guess this is a question more for the town manager. I know we all got a letter from a resident about the e-bikes. Is there a need for us to look at a policy on that, or have the police
So
talk about it?
this is a challenge that's presenting itself to all communities. It was brought up through Parks and Rec that the coaches were going to try to get some communication out, as the mayor mentioned. PD's working with the schools. It really needs to be addressed at the state level.
Okay. So it's more just about educating people in our town, and then if anything's going to be addressed, it's probably going to come down from the state.
From a legislative perspective, yeah, it really should come down from the state of New Jersey. We can talk, I mean, when you run into your state legislators, bring up the issue that you're hearing about it, and there's concerns about it, and maybe that can make some progress. But really, municipal ordinance, I don't know if that's the best way to handle it. There's also the sensitive nature of minors. I really don't want to see a police cruiser chasing a kid on a bike. That would not be good. No good outcome there either way. So it's a topic that really the state needs to address in terms of who's eligible for what and how and what speeds are acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on. Next on the agenda is public comment. As a reminder, we welcome comments, suggestions, and questions rather than dialogue. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, please. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone and provide your name for the record.
You got one behind
Anybody? Yes.
You got one behind the pole over here, John.
Right.
Go ahead.
Behind the pole. Come on up.
Good evening, Karen Randolph from Pequannock.
Welcome.
Thank you. I know our town is very concerned with being ready for emergencies. We put a lot of praise and on our police and our ambulance and whatnot. Anyway, what I'm connecting to is what happened in Texas with the flood and how unprepared the whole situation seemed to have been, with the breakdown of the lack of FEMA coming forward in a timely manner. And I was reading an article that is saying, well, this is all tumbling down to the town level, that we're going to need to up our preparedness. And I was wondering if there was a way to put on a presentation as to how you're going to address situations such as a flood or earthquake or God forbid, hurricane again. I think that would be very useful, and it would help me be a little more calm about the whole thing, since I'm seeing it kind of crumble apart at the federal level. And I know the state is definitely involved too, but I wanted to kind of know how it all melds together. And if that's a possibility, I'd be very interested.
Okay, all right. Once we get done, we'll chat with Mr. Brewer about it, see what we have. Because I know we haven't had a flood in a long time, which is great. We're thankful for that, but we want to be aware of that.
At least thinking about it. And
because speaking of Texas, I was there personally, and I seen it firsthand, and I was there, and you still can't believe it.
Yeah. So, and everything seems to be a little more exaggerated these days with the amount of rain and the amount of wind and whatever it is.
Right.
Also, I wanted to point out that we did our planting at Greenview Park with the Environmental Commission. We spent 2 Saturdays, and Tom Newman just about broke his back, and he was tough on his wife, and we all pitched in. We had maybe 10 volunteers in total, but he's been over there. Tom Newman's also been over there watering, and along with some neighbors, I heard. So it hopefully will look really great.
That's great now.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the committee in doing that. So, thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Yes, come on up.
Hello, Sandy LaCourte. John, Kyle, Melissa, Dave, and Vincent, I would like to be thankful that you ultimately decide to vigorously defend our community against the allegations of the 60 Sunset owners. It's about what, where, why, and how, and they want to make it about who. That's not who we are as a community. And I would like to be able to say thank you for you live here, you know who we are, you know what we're about. And wouldn't it be great if this case turns into one that other towns can use to show that they beat using RULIPA, the religious land use, when it's really about something else? Wouldn't that be great if we were on the record as we fought it, we defended ourselves, we vindicated ourselves, and we are now a case that other towns can use, or other people can cite that case. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thank you for being here anyhow.
Peter, like to come on up?
Hello, Peter Schmidt, 16 Manor Avenue, another topic. Since 4 or 5 years, the new version, the new version of ChatGPT 5 is out. And I use it every day. It is scarily smart. It is really scarily smart. I always thought I'm experienced in software development. In many areas, it is better than I am. No, it's just, it will change our life. I want to give just 3 little examples. Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Yeah? Is it true that old people cannot learn computer skills anymore? I just asked it. Yeah? And of course it said here, older adults can absolutely learn computer skills. Goes on and goes on. In short, older people can learn computer skills. What they need is respect, time, and support. Yeah? The other example, the menu that you just discussed, this AI, if I am an employee of the administration here, if I have lots of time, I would read it word by word, because it takes hours. If I'm pressed because I work hard, I would ask ChatGPT, tell me what has changed, tell me what is dangerous, tell me what's the difference between an employee in Morristown. You know, am I better off? Am I good off? This thing will change the way we are working. Yeah? This example here with, can I find what the town is doing about water flooding preparedness? This ChatGPT reads the website and tells me, I found this and I found that and I found that. And I can say, oh, that's very nice, tell me a summary. Are we better off than Riverdale? Or do other municipalities do better things? So this thing will change our world, and we should get prepared for it. Okay, so now I had a meeting this morning with Jim Sato. I met him over coffee. He was the former president of the Chamber of Commerce. He's now in a committee with the Department of Education of the state of New Jersey, how to introduce AI in schools and in the school systems. And they are establishing right now sort of required training, always 15 minutes training for the whole administrative staff to learn about AI, how to use it and how to introduce it. Maybe there is an opportunity for the township. Oh, he told me, by the way, that I'm with Porters here in this school system. They are pretty fit in this area. They are very, very progressive. So maybe this administration, including the council, could participate a little bit in this training too. We shouldn't leave it to the people themselves to educate them quietly in the evening. Maybe there is some opportunity to organize that a little bit in structure. Okay? That's
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Anybody else for public comment? Yes, come on up, Mr. Paul.
Again, Paul Mailer, Pequannock Township. Just a thought about raising the homes in the floodplain. Great thing to do. I just wonder if is it the 100-year flood level that we're still raising the homes up to? Because the likelihood is that 500-year floods are becoming more likely. Back when I was chairman of the planning board in a neighboring town, the 100-year flood was the only thing we concerned ourselves with. Now you hear 500-year flood. What I'm curious about, I asked an engineer in my own property where there's a brook that runs through my own property, where is the 100-year flood level and where is the 500-year flood level? And there was only like 3 or 4 feet difference coming towards my house, if you will. So what I wonder is if you raise a house to the 100-year flood level and it's to here, is the 500-year flood level only to there, and would that be the smarter thing to do?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We'll ask the question. I'll find out. I don't know that answer, so. Anybody else for public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting. Mr. Brewer, can we just talk about, I guess, the emergency plan that was brought up, and then I guess the flood level kind of ties into that. Sure. I know our flood committee has a plan, but where do we stand? Do we have to revisit it? Are we good?
Well, if I could take a quick liberty, we keep comparing ourselves to Riverdale, and I just want to point out that our municipal attorney is way better than the one in It's the same one.
It's the same one.
It's the same guy. It's Mr. Oostdijk in both locations. So
but I like him better.
Yeah, we like him much better. With respect to the flood, not to be a contrarian, but we have had flood.
Just no major.
A year and a half ago, we lost. Well, it would have been. We would have lost the village in the most recent flood that closed down Route 23, and it was to the point where we had a lot of staff staying up all night, and the volunteers were actually going out to announce to the village residents to relocate their vehicles. So we were right on the precipice of losing it. So it was an awesome drill to see if we were ready and had everything in check. The township has flood sensors, constant monitoring of a number of different sources in a huge region. I don't want to steal Mr. Nelson's thunder. He's the flood resilience officer. Previously, the prior flood resilience officer would come in and do a presentation. I think we should ask Mr. Nelson to do that. I'll leave a lot to him, but in my experience, you can never be prepared for everything, but we were very well prepared for that event. And the communication was excellent. People putting flyers on people's doors, nixels going out, stuff on the website, predictions announced hours before things were going to happen. So there was an enormous amount of communication, and we do regularly do drills with FEMA through a coached exercise to make sure we have everything addressed. When you have a change in personnel, you have different people doing different things. They need to be up to speed. So we're constantly practicing and preparing for that because it's a when, it's not an if. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate the question, and I think a presentation from Mr. Nelson would be well thought of and received and have as we did in the past. So I'll reach out to him and work to schedule that at a future meeting. With respect to the elevation of the homes, it's base flood elevation plus 3 feet. So I don't know the exact relationship of that to the 100 and the 500 year. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb. I believe it exceeds it, but I'm not positive, but Mr. Nelson can address that. That criteria is required by the elevation program, by FEMA, to say it's got to be this plus that. As you see driving around the neighborhoods, there's a lot of houses that are really high up in the air. So I hope, considering Irene was the 500 year in many places, I think if a lot of houses would have stayed dry in the livable areas. But Mr. Nelson can also address that when it comes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. Moving on with the agenda, there are no minutes for approval this evening. Item number 17 is a closed session discussion. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2025-172 authorizing the township to meet in executive session to discuss contract negotiations with the Borough of Pompton Lakes regarding garbage and recycling collection in the Borough of Lincoln Park for animal control services and litigation of the Pascagoula Valley Learning Center versus Township of Pequannock and PFAS?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, at this time, the public portion of the meeting is recessed for closed session. Thank you.